In this episode, we're going to talk about one of the original 1982 G.I Joe figures that has finally made its way to the classified line. That's right, we're going to take a look at Rock and Roll. Hello fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to It Came From My Side of the Laundry Room. My name is Rob, and like I said, we will be taking a look at the very new G.I Joe classified Rock and Roll figure. Now, Rock and Roll has a special place in my heart because he was the third G.I Joe figure that I ever got, all the way back in 1982. And I think it goes without saying why there was a lot of appeal to pick up Rock and Roll. It was his huge machine gun and his awesome, bandolier of bullets that crossed his chest. It was what made him different than a lot of the other green shirts at the time, and yeah, I was all about it. And of course I lost his bipod probably 5 seconds after I opened it because it was so itty bitty. So without further ado, let's head over here and take a look at Rock and Roll.
Yo, Joe!
Okay, folks, here we go. Craig Rock and Roll McConnell, one of the original members of G.I Joe from all the way back in 1982. He has finally made his way to 2023 and is part of the Classified series. And this figure is very brand spanking new. I have finally bit the bullet and started pre-ordering because, leaving it to chance like I wasn't doing myself any favors. Anyway, I have to say I'm a huge fan of this new box layout that they're using. I mean, I like the plastic-less boxes. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy that I'm helping the planet while also consuming plastic in the form of the figure, but we won't speak about that. But I love that they can put artwork front and center like they're doing, and in these new ones, they put the action figure front and center in an awesome pose. And with these backgrounds, they are using little bits from G.I Joe history, which I think is awesome. But that's not saying they're not including the awesome artist renditions, because we have that over here. Really nice piece. Let's see if I can pull it in a little bit closer. Yeah, I really dig that. He looks stern, tough, and ready to rock out with his devil horns. I really dig it. So they also include a picture of all the accessories at the top, which I think is cool too. So here we have another bigger picture of that portrait art. Really like that. We have the back, a little bit more of a rundown. And you know what? I really dig this on the side. They actually give you true height measurement of the figure. And I don't know why, but I get just a big kick out of that. I like that they've included that. So he is number 71. Wow. Time has flown. I mean, he's 71, and I know that there's a bunch more coming out after him. And we're going to be taking a look at some other ones here shortly that I'm not even sure their number, but they might be above 71. That's, wow. Thinking back all the way to when they first announced it in that first Snake Eyes figure, wow, that just seems like a lifetime ago. But anyway, let's take a look at Rock and Roll and his accessories, and yeah, we'll go from there and have some fun along the way. Okay, here we have Rock and Roll fresh out of the package. We have him with his accessories. We also have the footlocker that he came with. Again, I'm a fan of that. And we have another character portrait that is in the inside of the box. Also, I really like that just little bit of detail that they throw in. So let's look at his accessories before we take a look at the man himself. So let me get a little bit closer here. There we go. So we have his machine gun, an extra bit of ammo belt here. We have a little tiny ammo belt that goes into this cartridge. I'm sure it has a proper name and I just don't know it. We have extra hands, we have a fist, and we have, of course, the devil horns. We have his helmet, which we will look at in detail shortly. We have his sidearm, sorry for the blurriness. And we have his walkie-talkie over here. Pretty cool. I wish some of the other figures would come with something like that. I mean, who's he going to talk to? No one else has a walkie-talkie. I mean, Breaker, he's got his helmet with the microphone and all. Maybe they talk to each other. There's original guys got to stick together. So let me pull the camera back a little bit more again, and let's take a close-up look at Rock and Roll himself. There we go. Sorry for the blurriness. What a nice head sculpt. The hair looks good. The beard looks great. I like that. He's got kind of a smug, stern look. I dig it. The ammo belt looks really good. His bandolier. Wow, look at the detail on the belt. His pouches, got some magazines. Got a canteen, gotta stay hydrated. I guess that's where the walkie-talkie plugs in. That's where his sidearm will go. Whoa! Stupid camera, there we go. Got another little pouch. Just look at these little details. I mean, it looks like you can see the stitching on that. Wow. The little buckles on here. And yes, he's tried and true green, but they gave him this accent color of the lighter green here, or tan, which I wish they would have just stuck with all green. I mean, I'm a fan of the original, and I mean, I don't mind this. I'm not going to say I mind it, but I wish they would have just, you know, kept it original, like they did with Breaker. But he looks awesome. Now, the tattoos, that was something that came later on in like the Devil's Due IDW comic series. So again, that's a little bit different than the original, but it's a nice touch. I mean, I remember in the comic, he was more like a surfer dude than like a heavy metal guy. He was always talking about going surfing and stuff. And like one of the first appearances of the Dreadnoks, they like attacked him and a couple other Joes that were getting ready to head to the beach, and they ended up getting hauled off in an ambulance, and then they take the ambulance and hunt down the Dreadnoks. It was great. So anyway, yeah, really happy with that sculpt. He looks awesome. Anyway, let's take a look at this awesome gear that he came with. Let's equip him and let's see what kind of adventures he's going to get into. Okay, here's my interpretation of the pose that he's doing on the box. I have him haunched over a little bit using that ab crunch feature that the figure has, and it works wonderfully. I mean, it's a really cool pose. I set him up with his ammo box and feed accessories. I have the walkie-talkie on his belt on the back. It can also go on the side that I see here, or you could probably put maybe that ammo box in one of those locations. His sidearm is in his thigh holster, and I'm going to grab him and we're going to look at it up close, but they still do have that surfer thing because they have Hang 10 on his helmet. But another thing I want to point out about the helmet is these little details. Like you have the ear mufflers there, and you have this small ammo pack on the back here. And I forgot to mention his bracelets. We have leather bracelets here, but then he has an ammo bracelet here with his skeletal nose and mouth. on his hand here, which is hard to pose exactly correct. That's probably the best you can do. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like it. The gun's great. The bipod, the legs move independently, so that's kind of interesting. I thought they were just one piece, but they do move independently. So let's see what else he can get into, and we'll be right back. Of course, we come back for the second pose, and the spin cycle has to kick in. Oh, anyway, here I have him posed just like he's done his day. He's radioing back into Hawk, giving him a sit rep on how the operation went. One thing I did notice that I'm not a huge fan of, the weapons and other accessories are very rubbery now. I've heard tell of it on Twitter of people talking about it, but this is my first experience with like rubbery guns. I mean, the handle that's on his machine gun, I don't know how long that would last if you were really playing with this toy and using that in your posing, because I was going to have him holding it from the handle at first, but I don't have any faith that it'll hold together. And just the weight of the gun itself seemed to make it bend a little bit. So yeah, I don't like that. I would rather have the rigid weapons that are hard to put in the hands than these that are, just kind of wonky and weak. Not a big fan of that. But I'm a fan of his posability. I mean, looks good like that. And let's get to a third pose, and we'll go from there. In one photo, we have 40 years of history between this swivel arm rock and roll that was released in 1983 to this rock and roll in the Classified series that was released in 2023. I mean, this was a fun little pose to get rock and roll helmet kind of cocked back, scratching his head. I put the bullet chain in the gun this time around. And we have little rock and roll here holding up his gun in kind of the same way, the best that I could, scratching his helmeted head, wondering what he's looking up at. So, like I said, 40 years of history. It's kind of like looking in a funhouse mirror, isn't it, rock and roll? You know, it's the little things like this that just make me so super happy with just collecting G.I. Joe in general. A blast from the past with the original figure and something brand new that can get you excited about G.I. Joe 41 years later. It's just an amazing feeling. I know, I'm just a simple man with simple likes and wants and needs, and toys fill that little tiny gap and just, get me through the day, the hustle and bustle. Anyway, with all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this or any of the other episodes that YouTube is recommending around me here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Keep being rad and stay dorky.